and just give me a wave when you see a few people logging in, and we will begin shortly after. Dr. Morthy, whenever you're ready, we're okay to begin.
Hello? Hold on. Hello? Look, I should take it off. Hello? Better? Well, let's go. This meeting of the Mahwah Board of Education is open to members of the public to be physically present. Members of the public that attend will be asked to follow the same procedures as all other visitors to our schools. Those procedures can be found on the agenda page of our website. Additionally, the board meeting will be live streamed for viewing purposes only. Anyone wishing to view the meeting may do so via Zoom. The webinar ID for this meeting is 869-7836-0461. And the required password is 337393. Mr. Bleeker?
Roll call for the January 26, 2022 meeting. Mr. Copeland.
Here.
Ms. Davanero.
Here.
Mr. De Silva.
Here.
Mr. Denise.
Here.
Mr. Gallo. Mr. Kaczmarski.
Here.
Dr. Park.
Here.
Ms. Saccone.
Here.
And Dr. Morthy.
Here. Adequate notice of this agenda and this meeting has been provided to the Ridgewood News and the Record, specifying that the Mahwah Board of Education will meet on January 26, 2022 in the administrative offices, 60 Ridge Road, Mahwah, New Jersey. A copy was filed with the Township Clerk. Salute to the flag. Mr. Kaczmarski.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, now we are going to welcome to our newest board member, Trista Davanero, and we're going to have a oath of office.
Yes, so Ms. Davanero performed her oath of office officially about 2 weeks ago here at Central Office, but we wanted to give her this opportunity to do the oath in front of the other members of the board as well, as far as members of the public. So Ms. Davanero, whenever you're ready, the oath is in front of you. Mr. Kaczmarski is asking you to stand. So you're welcome to go up to the microphone as well and read the board member's oath of office when you're ready.
Point of order, will we be reading the vote count again before? No, sorry.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll remember that. Okay. I, Trista Davanero, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, so help me God. I, Trista Davanero, do solemnly swear that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education, and that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19-4-1, nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJS 18A-12-1, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Thank you, Ms. Davanero, and once again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much and congratulations. Welcome to the board. Exciting, very exciting, thank you. Executive session, I'm assuming will be towards the end, okay? Motion, I need a motion to reconvene to public action. Ms. Saccone? Nope. Oh, we didn't recess. All right, hold on. so we just go to 8. We move. All right, 2 agenda questions. Please limit your questions at this time to resolutions under new business on this agenda. As a matter of fairness, you are asked to limit your questions to no more than 1 and your remarks to no longer than 3 minutes. If you are here representing a group, please identify yourself, the group, and your position in the group. If you are here as an individual, please give us your name and address. This section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes. Please specify the resolution you are referring to in your question. Now, Mr. De Silva, a motion to open the meeting to the public.
So moved, Dr. Moultrie.
Thank you, Mr. De Silva, and a second by Mr. Kazmarski. Looks like we have some public participation.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot my phone, I'll just grab that. Good evening. Danielle Ryan, 22 Riverview Terrace, Mahwah. My question is on page 16, W, for the stipend for the school nurses. I guess I just would like clarity on, I have a few questions with this. Where the money's coming from, what exactly are prorated, those 3 nurses, it seems, I guess maybe are new? Is that what, like they weren't here the whole year? Are all the nurses full-time? And are the 3 new ones, are they per diem, or like is there somebody that's just on a contact tracing kind of deal? Okay, so my question, okay, then I'll let you answer the beginning of that question.
Beth?
Sure, I'll go first. So each of those school nurses are full-time.
Okay.
So we have school-based nurses, so those nurses that are housed at specific school buildings, and we have floater nurses. So we have 2 floating nurses who work in the district. So they work from building to building every single day.
Okay, and where is this stipend coming from? Like, where is this being funded from? Is that from the federal, like, I know we got money.
Yeah, well, there is ESSER and federal money that is related to really just about anything from the COVID pandemic. As of right now, our intention is to fund this out of the operating account, and we would do so at the end of the year, which is part of the resolution. If something changes, we can always tap into that ESSER and federal money if we need to, but the intention right now is to take care of this out of our operating account. We'll have a better idea. We definitely will be able to at the end of the year, but that's the intention for right now.
And that number, or that budget, is that going back for the $125 per positive case? Is that per positive case, or is it only cases that require tracing? Is it cases going back all the way to September, or would it be from as this gets approved, or like?
It would be per case since September 1st, which is a similar compensation package to last school year.
But last school year you weren't in person, so there wasn't 560 something cases.
We were in person, there were fewer cases.
Significantly, come on. There
I don't know
wasn't
the exact number, there were fewer cases, and yes.
a lot less. Okay, my deep concern with this, and I know that this is a, how should I say, if you're a part of a union, I get like there's union, I was part of a union. Being that there's no cap on this, and already if this is going back to, I have the numbers, going back to September, the amount of money that's being given out at this point, so we have 564 cases, that's $70,500 per, or as of today, that is being allocated to this fund. If you divide that up by the 9 nurses, that's going to be $7,833 per nurse. Their contract range is from $52,800 to $100,000 per year. So at somebody making $52,000 or $53,000, that's going to be like a 15% pay increase with no cap. We're only in January, where if we go to, like, we're at a point where we're testing everybody. Everybody's getting tested. So cases are just going to continue to rise with asymptomatic people being tested. So this number could just exponentially go up. Like this, and we're putting a price tag on getting a positive case. And I think that, and I understand that nurses are doing a lot, I get that. This is unprecedented times, quote unquote, and that's part of being in this unprecedented time is everybody's putting in extra work. And the fact that like I understand it's not, I'm sure it's not meant this way, but putting a price on a positive test and encouraging testing is very frightening to me.
Well, I'd have to disagree with the putting a price on a positive test along the lines of the specifics of what a nurse does to earn this money, because that's what they do. Is not only are they working with the situations that are occurring every single day that hasn't changed, and to speak to last year, there are more situations that take place this year, being that lunch and recess are back, and oftentimes those are the big spike in events that take place that nurses have to attend to, medication that needs to be distributed, and all the other things that they do throughout the day. Along the lines of contact tracing, it is an extremely comprehensive task that doesn't just take place during the school day. So our school nurses are being asked to do things outside of the contractual hours, and those contractual hours sometimes span into 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. It oftentimes dumps into the weekend. It impacts their family time, their holidays, and all the things in between. So along the lines of the nominal fee that we're giving to the nurses per case compared to the work that they're doing in order to keep our doors open and allow our schools to continue to function and adhere to all the different mandates that we're obligated to attend to, I think it's fair and appropriate to give them this money that they deserve because they're going outside of the purview of what a normal nurse's experiences look like since the beginning of schooling. And you're absolutely right, it is unprecedented times. And they're now faced with a challenge that we never had to face with before. They've taken it on, and they've really embraced their role in keeping our schools open. And we're very grateful, and we felt like this was a responsible way to appreciate what they're doing. When we're able to go home and go to our families, we're interrupting that time from them, and they're jumping in to make sure that the kids are appropriately placed along the lines of coming in or having to quarantine, and then that contact tracing then triggers our educational program to put the students on Zoom so they're not missing out on instructional time. So their ability to work at all different times has allowed our kids to jump on to Zooms pretty much the next day. And that's not something that we can say about everywhere around New Jersey. So we're very happy with what they're doing.
Follow up on the contact tracing, because I've asked this in the past and you told me that it was too complicated to figure out. In the portal, the COVID dashboard rather, what exactly does in-school transmission mean? There's a column that says in-school transmission as opposed to just regular cases.
So the first piece is, I don't think I use the word too complicated. It's just logistically there are a lot of pieces that are connected to the contact tracing process. In terms of the on-site transmission, those are the on-site transmissions that have been identified by the New Jersey Department of Health.
As what? That somebody got it within the school?
Yes, that a transmission occurred on site.
Okay, so that's the number that I was asking for, that I was told we don't have. It was how many cases were transmitted within the school.
But those are the two pieces. I think there are 2 or 3 that are listed on the COVID dashboard. They were identified by the New Jersey Department of Health. As we know, the New Jersey Department of Health has been inundated by cases that since the beginning of the school year, they haven't circled back to say this is an exact on-site transmission. What I shared at previous meetings is that there has been transmission from student to student, but we don't know exactly which ones they are.
I'll just end it, well, obviously. Once again, the fact that there's no cap, this can just gonna keep going up. And if we do encourage testing, that's encouraging this to go higher and higher. I appreciate what the people do. I also know that other unions were in situations where their members were getting paid astronomically, and they had to just reel it in and say, hey, we need to change what's on paper because it got out of control, because nobody saw this thing going for 2 years. So just I appreciate what they do, and it is amazing that you were able to stay open. Not having a cap on this is dangerous, in my opinion.
Thank you, Ms. Ryan, appreciate it. And also, can I just make a request to everyone who comes up to the podium, please, to please keep your mask still on. Thank you, appreciate that. All right, a motion to close the meeting to the public. We have,
One more?
one more?
Yeah.
Okay, come on,
Thanks.
sure.
Lou
I'm
Theodoro.
sorry, hold on 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yes. Is it related to an agenda question? Because otherwise we have public participation at the end, Mr.
Yes, I thought it was, I came in late, I didn't know what part of the meeting you were at.
Oh, okay, no, we're still under agenda questions?
I have something new, follow up on hers, but I don't think it's the appropriate time.
I'm sorry?
It's a follow up to her question, but I don't think it's the appropriate time.
Okay, so then we'll hold it till the
Great,
end?
thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
appreciate that. All right, so motion to close the meeting to the public. Ms. Acone and Mr. Kazmarski. All right, Dr. DeToro, superintendent's report, but I think
Yes.
you would prefer we move
Dr.
to
Murphy,
now?
if we could, we have a special guest who is logging on that Dr. Fair has within his report. So if we can just temporarily jump to Dr. Fair's report and
Absolutely.
then come back. Mine's a little bit more lengthy.
Okay, so Dr. Fair, assistant superintendent.
Sure. So, I'll just touch on a portion of my report, and then we'll go to Dr. DeToro's report, and then we'll circle back. You'll see on this evening's agenda, we have 3 retirement announcements of current staff members. And recently, I received a phone call from a woman named Elaine. And Elaine is the daughter, no, her name is Eileen. Eileen is the daughter of Eleanor. And this is Eleanor here. She is a former Mahwah staff member who retired from the district. Her name is Miss Eleanor Platts. So she served as an instructional paraprofessional here in the district. And I just want to introduce her, and then we'll explain why we're particularly highlighting her. She is the mother of 4 with 6 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. She has been a widow since she was 56 years old, and because of her, she has worked till she was 85 at different jobs, the most recent being an aide in Mahwah. In the school district, she worked as a nurse's aide, a teacher's aide, and also a personal one-to-one for a student with special needs. Everyone referred to Ms. Platts as Miss Ellie. She is currently a very active resident at Van Dyke Park Place in Hawthorne and couldn't be happier. She attends prayer services or in cooking classes and plays dominoes with other residents. She is also a member of the garden club at the facility and enjoys gardening on the patios when the weather permits. And Eleanor's daughter, when she called my office, she asked for if we could write a letter for Ms. Platts' 100th birthday, which is coming up on January 31st. So I shared with Ms. Platts' daughter that I believe we could do even better and spotlight her here at a board meeting. So she's tuning in. That's why we wanted to start with this highlight. But according to her daughter, Ms. Platts always dreamed of reaching her 100th birthday. So it's here, and we're very happy to celebrate her this evening.
And if that's what you look like at 100, I mean, fantastic.
Amazing.
Well, amazing. Thank you very much. That is a special tribute. Is it actually today her birthday,
I'll read it.
Mr. Fair?
Her birthday is on January 31st.
Oh,
So it's coming
January
up.
31st. What year?
No, but not. No.
Happy birthday, Ms. Blatz. All right, back to Dr. DeToro.
Thank you so much. So, as I said, we have two things that we would like to talk or present to the board. The first thing I think is well-deserved, and now more than ever, I think it is necessary to read this into the public, and it's a little bit of thanks for our board members and their commitment to our district. So, I don't know if anyone is aware, Governor Murphy put out a proclamation from the state of New Jersey, the executive department. If I could please just read it to everyone. It starts with, whereas New Jersey's public schools serve nearly 1.4 million children in pre-K through 12th grade, whereas New Jersey's 5,000 local Board of Education members and charter school trustees devote countless hours without remuneration to the oversight, is it remuneration actually, to the oversight of this, there's a lot of English people here, to the oversight of the school district's operations, including finances, policy, curriculum, and staffing. And whereas, as the policy-making bodies for local school districts, New Jersey's local school boards of education endeavor to meet the challenges facing public schools and to help students attain the education necessary to excel in college and in the workplace, and to enable them to compete in a global economy. And whereas, local boards of education have contributed to New Jersey being among the leading states in measures of academic quality, such as the National Assessment of Educational Progress, and the preparation for college through advanced placement courses and other curricular offerings. And whereas the New Jersey School Boards Association has declared January 2020 to be the School Board Recognition Month. And by making meaningful contributions to the public education, the dedicated members of local school boards have greatly enhanced the quality of life in our state. Now, therefore, Philip D. Murphy, Governor of the state of New Jersey, does hereby proclaim January 2020 as School Board Recognition Month. I have to say, just in addition to this, and I know I could speak for my team, I've been in this district for 11 years, and I've served in a number of different roles as principal, director of curriculum, and now as the superintendent of schools. I've been extremely fortunate to work alongside of all of you in different capacities. Something that resonates with me is our board retreat. And during that time, I was able to really witness the dedication and commitment, and really the clear focus that the board has in doing everything they can to make sure that this school and the school district is operating at a high level and supporting the students in which we serve, and also supporting the teachers in which, and really make everything happen here. So I think this is a wonderful note of thanks, but I think it's even more important for us to do this publicly, to say thank you to each and every one of you, to your dedication, your commitment, and your time to a job that is immense, to allow this district to continue to be successful. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So if you can focus your attention up to the screen here, this is a culmination of a lot of the work that's taken place with our strategic plan. Let me just give you a historical perspective of our strategic plan. Back in spring of 2019, our administrative team came together and really started to talk about goals. Each and every year prior to that, our building principals would come together, work with our supervisors to identify what are the needs of the schools. They worked extremely hard with the staff members, and oftentimes they accomplish all the goals that we set forth for the following year. That being said, during that time, we understood that we were missing a very important aspect of the goal-setting process. There were voices that were not at the table that needed to be, and we felt it was extremely necessary to create a strategic plan that had all of those voices included. So on December 12th of 2019, we were able to bring together hundreds of community members. Those community members consisted of board members, teachers, students, parents, administrators, and at that time, they were able to start to identify what are our values, what are our collective commitments as a district, where do we want to go moving forward. We always say Mahwah is a very good district, but there's still opportunities for growth. We don't want to rest on our laurels, and we always want to look for opportunities to build our students up to make sure that they're competitive after they leave our schools. So at that first meeting, we started to talk about the strengths, but also the challenges. We need to be honest with ourselves. It's great to celebrate, but it's even more important to start to identify what are our points of growth that we need to attend to build even further. The second meeting, we started to identify what's our hope for the future. Where do we want our school to be in 2025? And in the final meeting, we identified what are our specific goals. So when we were building those goals, and some of the people here were in those meetings, we started to identify themes across all of the contributions from all the different stakeholders. And we were able to settle into these 4 frames: facilities, curriculum instruction, social emotional learning, and community connections. So when you look at these 4 themes, well, and I'll start with facilities. Obviously, we want our facilities to be clean. But more importantly, we want them to be safe and innovative learning environments to allow our teachers to do the great things that they do each and every day, to really challenge the norm and give our students opportunities to experience things that they wouldn't be able to experience otherwise. The second piece is SEL. You know, we talk all the time, especially now, about the emotional well-being of our students. It's really important that we partner with our families at home and start to give the students the skills they need to really navigate the social terrain. How do you navigate the successes? How do you overcome the challenges and persevere and really showcase the grit that we need to be successful? The next piece is curriculum. Obviously, this is our foundation. This is why we're here. And this is really what everything is springboards off of this specific frame. Obviously, we want a high-level, rich, diverse curriculum that provides our students opportunities to be problem solvers and global thinkers. And that's really going to take a lot of time and effort to make sure that we're constantly autopsying our curriculum, auditing what we're offering, and building from there. And last but not least is community connections. This frame, I'm extremely excited that Dr. Fair is going to be sharing with you today. This is something that all of our community members asked for. All of our stakeholders talked about. This is something, when you talk about a challenge, that we could get better at. How do we partner with our community to enhance the students' educational experience? How do we partner with our community to allow our students to connect with outside agencies that are essentially going to make them successful moving forward? So tonight, just like in a good lesson, I want to give you the objective. The objective of today are 2 things. Number 1, it's as we go through this website that's going to be posted on our strategic plan website. The purpose of this website is twofold. Number 1 is clarity along the lines of where we're going, and number 2 is transparency of the work that we've done. So tonight we're going to go through all 4 frames, and there's 2 pieces of each frame. There's the progress from 2020 until now, the things that we have done. We tried our best to really synthesize the 30 pages of feedback that we got from the administrators of work that's being done and spotlight the big things that are happening. That doesn't mean other things aren't happening, but we felt like these are of note that we want to highlight that really showcase the work that's being done. That's from 2020 to 2022. And last but not least, which I think is even more valuable, is what are our goalposts? What are we really trying to achieve? So on the bottom right-hand side, you'll see vision for 2025. And that's going to showcase exactly what we want our district to look like by the end of the strategic plan. So if we could start with community connections?
Yep, absolutely. Do you mind, all right, so Dr. Torre is going to navigate through the website so you can see what it looks like as I refer to some key points. So what the strategic planning process really forced us to do with regards to community connections is really look at the value that is within the community of Mahwah, and obviously in celebrating our differences, but also how can we really rely on each other as resources. So you'll see a lot of these pieces we've referenced in previous board meetings. of things that we've done over the course of the last 2 years. And while these are initiatives that have started over the last 2 years, and we're excited about them, we're even more excited about what is to come. So you'll see under the first pillar of community connections, it speaks to real-world experiences and providing those to our students. It speaks specifically to our secondary program, but it also talks to mentorships, which I think has the opportunity to be a valuable impact on our elementary program. So, for example, we've used our homework club at the high school to work with students at JK after school. That works as a mentor type experience. We've had high school students work with elementary students through video conferencing, whether it's through science labs or cross-curricular conversations. At the secondary level, we've had our UPS mentorship program, and we're investigating additional opportunities. We've had students lead initiatives at the high school that have been really district-wide efforts, and I know Dr. Ravina will speak more to that. And you've heard about our Thunderbird partnership program, which has allowed for our students to have the opportunity to naturally connect to a professional network. So, for example, we've had an expert into the classroom that adults spoke to students, and as a result of that, the professional offered opportunities to do job shadowing or internship opportunities inside the workplace. The second pillar speaks to connecting to our families, particularly our new families. We've created a district welcome package for our new families from a district perspective, and we've talked to our HSOs recently about what could a parent ambassador program look like. So those conversations are taking place. As we all know, our district has done a really nice job of really encouraging and promoting our Mahwah Connects campaign. I think we got to a point where many years ago where we recognized the real importance of human connectivity amongst all of us and what that can have, the power it can have with regards to our instructional program. We've already made concentrated efforts on the student transition. So students moving from 3rd grade to JK, we've had those walking tours from JK to the Ridge, and then also from the Ridge to the high school. Part of that was we also wanted to showcase our STEAM facility, so we've been trying our best to utilize our STEAM facility in creating cross-curricular content as well. Our school counselors have also been active in connecting with new families. The third piece connects to career education and supporting our curriculum with authentic voices. This lends quite naturally to our Thunderbird partnership program. At the elementary school level, we're just attempting to expose our students to a variety of different types of careers or work-related experiences. So our experts have been able to do that in terms of either special events or expert visits. Our Thunderbird partnership program has quite naturally brought our content, our curriculum content to life. And at our secondary level, we've looked at our Career Pathways program. We're looking at creating more and more sustainable partnerships that will be long-lasting. We've already talked about our structured learning experience, and through that it provides our special education students with opportunities to be on the job and learn those job and life-related skills, and providing opportunities for students with our experts to really ask meaningful questions related to what do those jobs look like in reality, beyond what we've always known as police officer, teacher, lawyer, doctor. And although those are all great career paths, we all know in adulthood there are many more avenues that students can pursue. And lastly, there is a focus on equity. We've done, I think, a pretty good job at celebrating our diversity through our curriculum, which Dr. Ravina will speak more to that, and also our district-wide communications. Our Parent Academy, in terms of information sessions, our adult ESL program has been really powerful. We'll learn later from one of our retirees has really spearheaded that program. We have done a nice job of creating community events where families can learn actively about diverse learning experiences for our students. And lastly, our secondary dual enrollment program. We're talking more and more currently about how to make this program where students can earn college credits or trade school credits while in the secondary program for all types of learners. And in 2025, our goal is really to, you're doing a great job, thank you. Well, you know, we sat down with our administrators the other day, and you know, I spoke particularly to Mr. Pascal, who happens to be in the audience. And you know, I asked him, because he's living this day to day, and I asked him, is this too ambitious? And John really said we could do it if it's right for students. So you're going to see that these are lofty goals, but I think they're very achievable based on the progress we've been able to make thus far. So our goal with pillar number 1 is to not only identify opportunities for our students to complete internships or externships, but also have a working catalog that we can go to systemically, right? We have staff members right now who are completing training on work-based supervision, which is critical for this type of program, where the teachers who could serve as a teacher leadership opportunity can assist us in matching students to internships or externship opportunities. We're looking at obviously exploring how such internships or externships can be paired with our Career Pathways program, and also our dual enrollment program. So our students can earn credit while on site and have that matched to their respective program. For pillar number 2, in connecting with new families, we're looking to have our communication and our connectivity with new families that much more systemic. So we're going to come up with a system that can last over time, regardless of who is in which seat. And in speaking with our HSOs, they were really excited, and we're looking to partner with our HSOs and partner with the MSF to see what system can be created and what town halls could potentially be slated for new families who come in to interface with other families. Our third piece speaks to engaging our experts. At the elementary school level, we continue to attempt to make even more partnerships beyond just having our experts come to speak with our students. And at the secondary level, we're looking to create career fair opportunities that are connected to each career pathway. So by the time students are working and they've selected and they're progressing through their pathway, we would have signaled opportunities for students to see what are different types of careers in their particular field. And then we've talked about the power of our alumni, right? And having alumni panels speak to what does it look like, because they have an immediate connection to our academic program as well as our social program, since they went through the schools, to speak to what has their experience been like in their current career, and how has Mahwah prepared them as a precursor for post-secondary life. And lastly, something I'm really pumped about is providing more and more access for our students in our dual enrollment program, and talking to really focus groups of our diverse learners to see what was your experience like as a learner here, and what was your experience like through our district as a human being. So we want to keep those social connections close with our alumni, and also speak to creating more robust partnerships with our neighboring schools, right? So we have trade schools, we have real estate schools, and we have four-year colleges that are right around here. So we're hoping to create opportunities so that students, prior to graduating from Mahwah High School, have a leg up in terms of whatever field they choose to pursue. And lastly, I think we're doing a really awesome job with our dual enrollment program. In speaking with our secondary program, what I'll do is I'll find something and I'll send it to Mr. Gliada, our Director of Guidance, or Mr. Pascal, our Mahwah High School principal. And they'll say to me, we're already doing that. And for me, I'll share with them, well, if I don't know, I don't think everyone knows, right? So we're looking at coming up with a way to successfully brand that program, because we have so many awesome programs. Just this year, we've doubled our partnerships with surrounding schools. So we've moved from Fairleigh Dickinson University, Seton Hall University, and Bergen Community College, and we've also made 3 additional partnerships with St. Thomas Aquinas, College of St. Elizabeth, and NJIT. Just this year, we added 3 new courses that when students take those courses, they can also earn college credits while taking those courses. So honors calculus, mindfulness, resiliency, and wellness, and entrepreneurship. And we're also talking about investigating opportunities where students can earn badges, micro-credentials, and certificates that can also bolster either a college transcript or their resumes for when they leave here. So there's some really awesome things going on, and I think what's most powerful is that we have a team who is all on board, and I think that if you have the right people, you can really do anything. So I'm really excited about where we are, and really more excited about what is to come.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do you want to do section by, if everyone has a question, or you want to save it to the end?
Well, I'll save it for the end.
Okay, sure.
Is that okay?
Okay, so for curriculum instruction, there are 5 different objectives that are listed. And my assistant here will blow that up for you so you can see it a little better. Don't promise. Okay. So the first objective has to do with writing curricula, right? So when we approach the task of what the state is handing down, or maybe we have an outdated curriculum and we need to write it. This is really what that circles around. So there's a couple of things that have happened, as you can see, more than a couple, over the last 2 years. This past summer alone, we touched 130 different classes and courses that were updated and enhanced, which is a big feat. And that only happens with the support of our teachers and administrators. We add new classes. This past year, we added a new class. We add new text throughout the year, which you hear at our instructional meetings and reporting out. We also did an audit of the work that we do with equity in our district, and we've also started to infuse more opportunities for our kids in terms of equity, as well as resources for our teachers. And we also started to do articulation meetings, but with purposeful intent at the bridge years. So we look at our 3-4 bridge year. We look at going from our JK school to middle school and middle school to high school. And we do this with the intent of saying, what is your curriculum? How do you infuse your curriculum here? And how does it bridge to what my child, well, for a parent, what my child will experience at the next level? For a teacher, how does it bridge in terms of language, vocabulary, what they might see prior, and what I can connect to when they come to me? So number 2 has to do with, sorry, there's a lot there.
Right.
All right, so number 2 really has to do with creating an atmosphere where our kids learn how to be global contributors, right? How do we create the environment for our students to learn how to give back, how to use their education beyond what they're learning in their classroom for when they're in society, beyond their college years? Some of the things that we do, we partner with our HSOs and the MSF to do community cares events. We still do those. We also, this year, we talked about I think 2 board meetings ago, our Community Problem Solvers class partnered with Mevo, which is a Mahwah-based organization to give back to the Mahwah community. We also have kids helping kids, right? So it's not just beyond our classroom or our school walls, but beyond our classroom walls. So how do we have our kids mentor other kids, which Dr. Fair also talked about in his presentation. Specifically though, we have language buddies that were set up this year, which we're really excited about. That is, our high school students are supporting our Ramapo Ridge students and mentoring them, which is really nice. Okay, number 3. Number 3 has to do with PD. So everything having to do with curriculum starts with the understanding that we have to train all of our staff to be able to execute that curriculum. So when you're talking about 3, it's what are we doing in terms of professional development for our people. So just as in years past, we have had in-house professional development, and we have had outside PD come in. But what's really exciting is we're actually going into, on Friday, in-house PD, where we have over 55 sessions being presented by our own staff members, which is an amazing feat. And we also have, obviously, moments where we bring in presenters from the outside, depending on what that topic is. We also have various topics that we talked about this year with our teachers coming back and with our staff members, having to do with differentiation, accelerated learning, topics on equity, and SEL. Okay, number 4. Number 4's goal really has to do about having experiences that are authentic and are transferable. So when we look at authentic learning, some of the things that have happened, that first one right there talks about home challenge kits. Our older students created home challenge kits for our younger students, and our younger students were able to pick those up, take them home, or take them into class and collaborate with their friends, things like that, to execute a problem or a challenge together. Other experiences are we've increased our exposure of PBL, which is problem-based learning, in our classrooms. We've done that at the K-5 level. We also, which I'm really excited to announce, have done that with our math department at the 6-12 level. So if your child was in honors calc, geometry, or statistics, they might have had a PBL at the end of a unit instead of an assessment. And number 5 has to do with a lot of what Mr. Fair or Dr. Fair was just talking about, right? Making that connection of curriculum outside, right? How do we connect with outside our walls? So that's of course our Thunderbird partnership program. We've had over 165 people sign up for our partnership program. And in the last 3 months, we've had 38 partners come in, which is really, really exciting. So this is the fun stuff. We get to talk about where we're going. So going back to number 1, I feel like we could do a circle, right? We go back and forth. But number 1, when we're talking about writing curricula, we have another about 80 courses that we're going to be looking at this summer to keep up with our standards and keep up with state requirements. But when we look at writing curriculum, we really want to look at the way we do it. We usually write it over the summer in a short amount of time with a couple teachers. What we're looking at is looking at how to do that throughout the year with more teachers. So you don't have to turnkey as much, right? When you sit and write curriculum, if there's only 2 people involved in that, we have to turnkey that information so that all of the teachers in the department know what to do with it. In this method, if we look at it over time, we have everybody there to have those conversations in the development of curriculum. So we're looking to see how we can do that in Mahwah. And then we're also looking at creating a systematic way to look at tiered interventions for our kids. So we have a great system right now in each building of how to support learners, but we're really looking at how to create a systematic approach from K through 12. When we look at thinking globally about education, we're really looking at creating district days, cultural days, give back days, where we're all, as a community, looking at ways to take what we're learning and connect it to a need outside of our buildings. So things like a give back day where our students learn how to plan and execute a give back, find a problem, find a solution, and then follow that to fruition. We're also looking to create cross-grade and cross-age collaboration, even more so than we've been doing. But then also looking internationally. How do we connect what we're doing in the classroom with outside of our classroom, outside of our state, outside of our country? When we're talking about PD, we're looking to create a way that all of our teachers and staff members, and even our community, have access to professional development whenever they need it, wherever they need it. So right now, we have a PD technology website where teachers can go and access technology PD whenever they would need it. What we're looking to do is mirror that for everything, right? So if you wanted to really focus on questioning and discussion as a teacher, in our PD hub, you would have questioning and discussion PD, snippets and excerpts that you could access. This would also help us, we have a lot of state mandated PD that we have to do every year. This is someplace that we could hold those as well.
Can I just jump in for 1 second? This is something that I think is going to really benefit our teachers because, as Dr. Pavino was saying, this coming PD day, which is Friday, they're going to have over 50 teachers that are going to be presenting on a number of different topics. And oftentimes the feedback that we get from the teachers, there are a lot of positive things that they say, but oftentimes they say, but I didn't get a chance to get to whatever it may be. So this really creates a catalog and a library that teachers can access on demand and continue to build our capacity in our library, our resources that teachers can take when they feel it's necessary. Or an administrator can sit down with their department and say, this is what we need to build as a collective team, and we have our own experts sharing what best practice is. So this is something that, it's not a one and done in the moment for PD Day. It's something that we can hold over time and archive and really benefit our staff community.
And the benefit of having a hub like that for our community is that our community would be able to access information about our programs as well. So, and that's the goal, that's the hope, and so hopefully we'll be able to execute that for the community as well. Okay, so the next one has to do with that authentic learning experience, right? And creating that moment where our kids understand that there's more than just what's in the book, right? There's the application of what's in that book, in that lecture, in that moment. How do you work together to get to the end? How do you solve a problem working as a team, not just by yourself? So we're really looking to create more PBL experiences throughout the grade levels. We have them isolated, right, in our K through 5 and our 6 through 12 in those math departments. We're really looking to see in our curriculum, where would a natural entry point be for PBL experiences to happen? We also want to create experiences within our curriculum that mimic what's happening in industry. So we don't in industry say we're going to take a test, right? We don't sit down, we don't come to a board meeting and say, let's everybody take a test. What we do in industry is we say, okay, here's the problem. This is your team of people, solve it, come back to us and present on it, figure out solutions, go into the community and figure it out together. That's what we want to do with our curriculum. We want to create endpoints that kids have to mimic what would happen naturally in industry. And finally, Dr. Fair really talked about this, so I won't belabor the point, but I think it is an amazing point to belabor if I have to. When we look to connect our kids with post-secondary experiences, we really have to think about what opportunities we have within right now and capitalize on them. So when we're talking about dual enrollment, when we're talking about work-study programs, we really want to have summer apprenticeships for them. We want to be able to connect everything that they're doing and give them the leg up when they leave us. Not just their grades, but their experience, right? And not everything, we talk about this all the time, not everything is about that end grade, right? It's how we're applying it and how we can communicate that to those around us. I'm really excited. It's a big job ahead of us all, but I think, as you can see in the 2 years, we've made some great progress. And working together, we'll be able to execute for 2025.
Thank you so much.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I am going to speak about the facilities section of our strategic plan. The facilities section has 4 goals located within it. The first goal, to regularly evaluate our learning spaces. And when I'm talking about progress updates 20 through 22 and evaluating our learning spaces, there's really not much more to go to than the facility assessment audit that we did in conjunction with Land Associates. That was an extremely valuable tool that we have referenced, that we've reviewed extensively with Land, and is really going to be a great base for us going forward to see at our buildings what we should be looking for, what we have that is in very good shape, and where we can look to address things over the course of the next couple of years and in the future. And really give ourselves a plan going forward to well maintain the wonderful facilities that we have and make sure that they stay in good working order. Along with that, specific audits and specific assessments to certain areas is a great way to evaluate what we have. As an example that's been accomplished so far from 2020 to 2022 is a specific audit and assessment of our roofing systems. Having a third-party vendor who's a professional in that area, expertise in that area, come take a look at our roofs, the different materials that they're made out of, the different ages, and with us develop a plan on how we can properly maintain, properly address, and properly repair and monitor those roof systems going forward. We have, to give an example for members of the board and members of the public, in total across our 6 buildings, almost 500,000 square feet of space. And that does not take into account any of our exterior spaces, our parking lots, our outdoor classrooms, fields and things of that. Almost 500,000 square feet of interior space throughout the district. The second goal within facilities is to regularly update innovative learning spaces. As I'm looking at the 2020 to 2022, what we've accomplished so far with updating, I don't need to look much further than some of the technology items that we've been able to address and put in place. Specifically, making sure that we're updating them to make sure that they can maintain a solid connection between the devices and computers that many staff and students have in the classrooms, to the overall network and internet pipeline that we have going out to the world. In speaking with that specifically, we've upgraded our Wi-Fi access points throughout the district. Over 400 access points throughout the entire district. We upgraded last summer, in summer of '21, to some of the newest technology that can properly work with the devices that many of our students and staff have. We also, in summer of '20, we worked cooperatively with LightPath, who's our internet service provider, to increase our bandwidth and increase our overall pipeline of transmitting data back and forth from a 2 gigabyte pipeline, increase it 5-fold to a 10 gigabyte pipeline. And going back to the Wi-Fi access points, another area that we looked at when we want to say we're looking to update those areas and expand them to new places. At the secondary level, the high school and the middle school, we added some exterior access points as well. As we move some of our learning outside, we want to make sure that we can still maintain that proper connection for devices. To again, go back and provide information, so those exterior access points have become very valuable and very useful for those outdoor spaces. For goal number 3, identify outdated and underutilized spaces. I read this and I say it's looking for opportunities that we may not have looked at before. And some of the areas, some of the things that we've done is we've worked cooperatively with, and in conjunction with our school administrators to say, what spaces do you have in your classroom and in your buildings that could be used maybe a little bit differently, or could be updated, that hasn't seen any updates in recent years, that have become stagnant. I do have to say, a nice benefit we had this year was having a couple of new administrators in the district. With that, they're looking at things with a fresh set of eyes. And it's great to hear, and I saw a lot of this through our land facility reviews that we had, how they're looking at things differently than previous administrators looked at, previous administrators, and what they're seeing with some of the opportunities they see that they may have in their buildings. And working with them, learning how we can change those spaces or modify them, make some adjustments so that we can take advantage of those opportunities. And the last one, goal number 4, is allocate funds yearly to ensure that we can accomplish many of the things that I spoke about. And for that, I have to say that it's looking for, going back a little bit to number 1 with the facility assessments and working to see our spaces, is to see what kind of schedule can we put in place? How should we prioritize? And as we prioritize, we look to say, okay, what funds do we have available to us? Do we have grants available to us? Do we have some favorable variances in some account lines, whether it's health benefits or anything else, that we can say we have an opportunity here to allocate some funds that we may not have had in other years to address some of the things that are on that list. So number 4 really ties into some of the goals above, because those goals will show us what we are looking to do, where we're looking to go, and then number 4 will take a, address how we're going to fund those. Okay. And Vision 2025. So I've touched on a couple things of what we've done to date from when the strategic plan process began. Looking at where we'd like to be, and there's some overlap here as I speak and address the goals, but for number 1, with regularly evaluate, I really want to have a clear vision and hope that the district would develop a clear vision of how we're going to evaluate going forward. Again, are we going to be able to have a third party such as Land Associates come in every 5 years and conduct an audit and give us that independent third party view? We may be able to, but we may not. And if we can't, how are we going to evaluate what we're going to, how we're going to review our buildings going forward? So by 2025, have that system in place, have identified the necessary stakeholders, whether it's roofing experts or engineering firms or anybody else, to see, let's take a look at our buildings and see how they're going to, how they can be improved going forward. For number 2, regularly update our learning spaces. Again, to have developed a schedule of how we're going to take a look at. When are we going to sit down and review and see what spaces need updating? Working, of course, with Dr. Pavino and the curriculum, learning where is the curriculum going? Where is it heading? What resources can either facilities or can technology provide or have in place to help achieve some of those curriculum goals that we have? For number 3, identify outdated, underutilized spaces. By 2025, the goal would be to have completed the identification of spaces that we need to have, to already have a plan in place of what we can do with those spaces and where we can bring them in the future. And also, again, regularly looking to see, okay, now that we've updated these spaces, what's next? Have a schedule of when we're going to look at things to update again and address again. And lastly, 2025 for allocating funds yearly. By 2025, as we've developed many of the things I've already spoken about, having those plans in place, having established our priorities for the next couple of years, to have identified a solid 5-year plan for our budget, 5-year plan for funding sources, whether it be grants, bonds, anything else, for addressing and finding ways to achieve the goals that we have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just to add to the facilities, just real quick, is Kyle oftentimes talked about that planning, that scheduling. Something that I really want to share with this committee is, and something that I think is extremely beneficial. Kyle and the facilities committee work extremely hard in gathering all the information from the Land Associates audit and worked with each school building. And we have identified a priority list during those meetings. But more importantly than the priority list is Kyle and his team created schedules for major items within our school district. The roofing projects, the HVAC projects, the window projects. Now I know that doesn't sound exciting, but in order for us to function effectively, those are major projects that we need to make sure that we're attending to year over year. And with all of the things, and Kyle said it perfectly, with over 500,000 square feet of facilities to attend to, not including the outside spaces, it's very easy to lose sight and lose momentum of those big projects. And to create schedules and forecasting really allows us to maintain that momentum and maintain that focus to make sure that not only are we attending to the schools during the day-to-day, but we're also making sure we don't lose sight of the maintenance over time to make sure our schools are functioning. So thank you very much. And last but not least, a very important frame for all of us, staff and students, is social emotional learning. Ms. Rizzo?
Thank you, Dr. Totoro. You've all been, oh, those are my notes.
Well, then we can just talk to it.
Absolutely. You've all been wonderful audience, so bear with me. When I was discussing ultimately the strategic plan with my colleagues this week, I was asking them to envision, in essence, a Venn diagram. And when you look at the power of the interlocking of all of the areas that have been discussed so far, and you place the child in the center. So between our facilities and our curriculum and our community and our social emotional learning programs, you have what is, in my opinion, the most comprehensive approach to a child that the district could possibly have. And our SEL program is designed to guide our students to develop their healthy identities and manage common emotions, achieve personal goals, feel and show empathy, establish and maintain healthy relationships, and help them to make the best possible decisions for themselves. So in that framework of SEL, which often there are questions about what SEL is, you'll look at and see that we are successfully meeting our goals little by little in the last few months of this school year, and certainly prior to that. So we are regularly evaluating under Goal 1 our social emotional curriculum. The high school has added courses. We have our school safety teams, which we found a great use of that HIB obligation of school safety teams meeting in order to really evaluate the culture and climate between student and student, student and teacher, and interface that into goal number 1. Of course, we're going to continue to regularly evaluate everything that we offer through our curriculum and instruction program. In goal number 2, what we're doing here is we're cultivating a learning environment that engages our students to be empathetic learners and to be appreciative of all that is around them and recognize the value of human rights. Our SEL coaches are trained to interface with teachers. They're trained to interface with students. And when I say SEL coaches, I'm literally talking about faculty members of ours who are employees of the district, obviously teachers within our districts, that took the time in the initial phases of the SEL program to learn this program and turnkey it to their colleagues, put on presentations for children, and it is ultimately translated into what we call basically weekly activities that occur during the school day and throughout every school building. We have basically named every day of the week at this point. I'll give you a tidbit. We have Mindful Mondays, Tap In Tuesdays. We certainly have morning meetings and spirit days. So if we can, we will certainly label every day of the week as we can for SEL. In goal 3, we're looking to create programs and provide tools for the parents. Again, hear what I'm saying when I say that we interlock and we have created this diagram of connectivity. Now we're in a domain in which Dr. Fair has already spoken about, but we're emphasizing it through the parental approach. And certainly when Dr. Totoro was Director of Curriculum, we created those parent opportunities for learning. We're currently reviewing all of the programs within the district relative to parents, and obviously I'll speak about what I hope to do in the future. Our counselors are tapping into this and are educating parents through our website as to what's available. We have a mindfulness website that our administrators are constantly referencing, and our guidance counselors are referencing for children as well. Goal number 4 is relative to building a social emotional learning continuum through the support of a comprehensive school counseling program. And it is ultimately identifying a unified language and practice throughout the district. And I want to pay deference, obviously, to the mindfulness program that we already have that exists. And currently, we're researching even more. We're researching if there is more that we can do with our responsive classroom program. We have lunch bunches and small group therapy going on throughout the school day around social skills and social emotional. So I don't want people to shy away from that word therapy and think that we're intervening in a level beyond that which a school district should do. We have high school guidance counselors that are doing marking period check-ins with students, in which students are invited to go onto a Google survey and advise them of their current needs and status as a student in Mahwah High School, and to put a shout out if they need extra assistance from a guidance counselor. Our child study team is also in the process of looking at a resiliency scale that we can use not to necessarily assess individual students, but to use it as a tool towards our whole culture and climate of the district. Dr. DeToro used the word grit earlier. Certainly grit and resiliency are research buzz phrases that are directly aligned to SEL and very much so part of what student achievement can be focused on. And lastly, we have PD in our goal number 5, if you want to just... So all of our teachers at this point are now trained in some capacity of mindfulness, even those that Dr. DeToro and Dr. Bavino earlier called perhaps resistors, are now part of the system and have participated in one way, shape, or form. We have SEL infused for our professional development opportunities, not only in training teachers in SEL, but having them exercise in manners in which it brings calming to themselves prior to tackling any significant tasks. And certainly we have some type of cohort training going on in SEL for any teachers right now, our final cohort, I believe, Dr. Bovino, for teachers in mindfulness. What is our vision for 2025? Yeah, that's fine. I'm sorry. So I've been in the district for 24 years. Wow. And I'm a product of the district, for those of you who don't know, and a resident of the district. And I have never had the opportunity to actually sit with a group of individuals and literally articulate where I wanted to see the district go, or actually generate thought with a cohort as to where the district should be going. So this is literally the first opportunity in 24 years, almost 20 years in leadership in the district, where this has overtly been asked. So I affectionately say to Kyle, hold on to the wallet. So what am I looking to do in 2025 for the whole district? I absolutely want to see our seniors, our graduating students, have the opportunity, as Dr. Fair has said, to reflect on what the SEL program was for them throughout their time in Mahwah. Whether they're homegrown Mahwah kids or entered our program midstream, they have a voice and can give us information as to what took place for them. Of course, we're going to continue to monitor our curriculum and inquiry our stakeholders. We want to cultivate a learning environment. How are we going to do this? We're going to continue with conscientious celebrations of our individual uniqueness and our commonalities. We're going to create helping peer programs that will subsequently train peers to help each other navigate learning using the resources available in school for them. Create an opportunity for students to be part of the Thunderbird partnership, not as recipients, but as presenters. There is a wealth of knowledge in our secondary program that can be brought to our elementary program and model for those students what it means to be a Thunderbird. Create opportunities for Mahwah students to connect with nearby school communities. And identify and use additional scientifically based systematic SEL programs for them, but maintaining our existing program. Thank you, Jen. Goal 3, create a program to provide tools for parents. I am passionate about us trying to find a way for parents to help parents. If you have successfully navigated Mahwah school districts, there's something within your knowledge base that can help our parents in the lower levels understand what it means to raise a teenager in the 2020s. And I believe that Parents Helping Parents is a perfect way to demonstrate SEL on a full continuum of adult and child. I want to regularly provide contact to the district therapeutic teams, to the parents. They need to know the resources that exist within our district. I would love to be able to see the district create a drop-in center for parents in which they can access information beyond the Parent Academy and perhaps community-based resources. I want to create a drop-in center for students around academics, social, emotional, and recreational needs, tapping into all students, not just those who can get a ride there, everyone. Create connections with statewide agencies. In the past, Mahwah would often say, we're Bergen County, we're not going to take advantage of resources throughout the state. Let that be for someone else. There's a wealth of resources within our state that we as a township should be accessing. It is our belief that we should consider creating a coordinator of mental health. We should create additional positions within our guidance department and our therapeutic department to assess students and assist students. And conduct an annual screening around resiliency. Again, not looking for the individual student, but more so the holistic of the community. And lastly, certainly PD, which Dr. Bovino has already spoken to, but I need it to be scientifically supported professional development. Not just the next trend, but something that is rooted in that. I want to end for you with this, Dr. DeToro. The district's vision is rooted in the expectation that to create thriving schools and programs that help to enable students to develop into their true potential, that we build opportunities for authentic, trusting, collaborative relationships between the school, our families, and the community. Here's to 2025.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, that was a strong close, so I'm not going to take up too much more time. As I said in the beginning, and I'll restate it, this is just the beginning of our strategic plan. Yes, we are extremely proud of the work that we've done, especially during all the challenges that we've faced over the past 2 years. What better time to start the strategic plan than during a pandemic? But we're extremely proud of the product that we've been able to create, the focus that we've been able to have, and the goals that we've been able to set in the past 2 years. That being said, we have a lot still to do. But I think with the information that we've been able to receive from the schools, with the work that we've done with the teachers and the administrative team, we're going to be able to create very intentional goals year over year to continue to chop away at the work that needs to be done to make sure that we're accomplishing the goals that we've established already. Just as a close before any questions, we know that this is important information, and because we are very committed to transparency, I'm going to take a look at the video to make sure that everything came through and video came through. What I would like to do, at the very least, is send an email to the community with introducing the website and having a narrative to explain exactly what we're doing. If the video works out for us, I would like to cut the video and also place that on the website if somebody would like to watch it as well, because we think that this is important information that everyone should have across the K-12. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. I think a round of, I mean, this was absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. I mean, very, very comprehensive. So thank you very much, Dr. DeToro, Dr. Fair, Dr. Bovino, Mr. Bleeker, and last but not least, Ms. Rizzo, right? Thank you so much, all of you. I guess we'll open it up. Do board members have a few quick questions? Mr. Kazmarski,
Let's go around the room, I guess.
I guess. And there's no Mr. Gallo, so.
That's right. We'll follow up at the next meeting.
Yeah, he will.
I want to thank you for that great presentation. It's great to see where we are and where we're looking to go. My question is as we're entering 2023's budget season, almost a year, do you think, after everything we've just seen and what you're talking about and thinking about across the district, where are we in terms of your thought process, in terms of staffing? Do we have the right staffing? Do we have the right mix of staff? Are we looking to make additions or changes, not necessarily specific to teachers, but, specialists or whatnot? As you look at what we have in front of us and where we're trying to get to in the next 3 years.
It's a perfect timed question because within the next couple of weeks, we are going to be working with our administrative team. And during that time, there is a look at, obviously, projections and going into the new year. At that time, you never know how many sections are going to be year over year. But when you start to talk about building programs and things like that, we're not at a place now that there's going to be significant staffing changes at this time year over year. As we continue to build those internships, externships, and job shadowing, I do think that we are going to have a need. I also think in speaking with the child study team and guidance department, I do think that we need to really look at, to be quite honest with you, we need to look at our supports specifically at the elementary level. We do have the supports. We're very fortunate at the 6-12 level with guidance and child study team, and that will continue to be evaluated. But at the elementary level, specifically at K-3, obviously we're seeing a need to continue to build that department at that level.
Thank you.
Were you literal and we go around the room?
We don't need to.
I think you just started here. I wasn't looking this way. I don't know.
All right. Then on this side of the room, anyone else? Further questions? Okay. Ms. Acone, coming around.
My comment is directed to Mrs. Rizzo.
Yes.
You mentioned reaching out to the parents and engaging the parents. I would love for us to really make an effort to reach out to the parents for whom English is not their native language. I think that because of the language barrier, they may not know how or may not feel comfortable reaching out to us. So I would really like us to make an extra effort to reach out to them and make them more aware of what's available.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Linda, the other piece I neglected to share during my presentation is we also believe that in talking about our dual enrollment program and what that looks like in conjunction with our Career Pathways program, we also recognize not only the importance of communicating that information to our students, but it's equally as important to communicate that to our parents because we know that can make a huge impact on what a student's program could potentially look like.
Mr. DeSilva.
And in terms of the, is this on?
Yep.
In terms of the integration of Pathways program, the transition between the Ridge and the high school, I mean, I would love to see kind of an expansion, sort of a reach down into the Ridge so that when kids, they go to the Ridge and they do the walking tour of the high school and everything, and that's all cool. But a lot of times, the first time they're hearing about the Pathways program is when they get to the high school, where I feel like that would be so much more effective if that starts in the Ridge and continues in the high school. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity there. I think that would be really cool to see.
I'm sorry, Glenn. I completely agree with you, and that's something that Mr. Corey and Mr. Pascal have been working on along the lines of how quick can we expose them to the potential of what's next. Mr. Corey and his team did a really comprehensive job on the Encore program that they have there. So that's a really nice feeder program along the lines of types of experiences that can really introduce them to the different types of pathways. And I know that Mr. Corey in the guidance department now is working on different ways in which to engage our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders and introduce them. Now, Mr. Pascal and the supervisors come down, but like you said, that's later on in their 8th grade year. Mr. Corey and his team are looking at different opportunities to continue to introduce them to all the things that are happening in the Pathways program, so I completely agree with you.
Okay, anything else? I just had a quick question to follow up on what Ben said. I know that at one of the conferences, there were some conversation about programs like this, pathways, et cetera. Have we looked at any sort of grant monies that could support and enhance some of these programs? And is that something that, you know, we might consider? Especially because I agree with Mr. Kazmarski that, you know, if some of these programs, especially if you get a very comprehensive internship, externship program, we want that to be, you know, run well. And if kids are going different places, there might be staffing needs. And I don't know, you know, what grant monies are sometimes out there for some of those things.
I think I can speak for Mr. Bleeker and say that we're constantly looking for financial support. But you bring up a very valid point. As we continue to expand our programs, we want to make sure that it's able to be sustained. And any sort of support that we can have to continue either to lift it off the ground and really get it up and running, or sustaining it over time. So as we continue to look at those programs, we'll definitely make sure that one of our major priorities is to see, are there grants that can offset that cost moving forward?
Great.
In line with that, I mean, we've been involved with, you know, internships at, particularly at our Emerson store, and it seems like the school districts, you know, out where we are, they have dedicated people who are out there constantly, you know, shaking hands and meeting with business owners and managers and forming those relationships, so that when they do have a kid who, you know, who might fit, you know, for that type of business, that relationship is already there, and it's constantly being, you know, kind of
cultivated.
Absolutely,
Yes.
and I feel like the certification program that I mentioned, that several of our staff members are currently enrolled in at Rutgers University, related to work-based supervision. I think that that will gain momentum, and I feel like we have one staff member who has done that with our structured learning experience, and she's been really successful. That I feel like once we have a few other people, that is just, it's another program that has the potential to really grow.
Yeah, because it's definitely a lot for one person. To
Oh,
really do it right,
absolutely.
if one person is, yeah.
Yep.
Agreed.
Especially with the scope of the type of students that we would like to send out. We don't want to limit it.
Yes.
We want to make sure that we offer it to as many students as possible, so you're absolutely correct.
All right, thank you. And it's nice to see, actually, the part of this that was great was to see the visual. We've been talking about strategic plan, we talked about it at our board retreat, we talked about it as a board, but to actually see it and to see the progress and where we are with the goals, I thought that it's nice to see visually as well, so thank you. All right, let's see, where are we?
That was the superintendent report.
Are you,
I'm done.
do you have anything else, Dr. DeTore? Okay.
Sorry, I told you it was a mistake.
Listen, important stuff, so thank you very much. Mr. Bleeker.
Okay, good evening. Business administration report for this evening. Since the last time we met, Mother Nature's kept us kind of busy between some accumulating snow, some rain. Just want to send a thank you to our maintenance and custodial teams. They've done a really great job of keeping the facilities open, plowed. They've been attacking the snow as soon as they can, and really been doing a great job with keeping up our facilities so far this year. We're not out of January yet. We still got a couple months of winter left, but again, excellent job to them so far. Also, in addition to that, I want to send a thank you to the DPW and police department as well. A lot of coordination between the schools is also done with the police and DPW, so thank you to them as well. Audit on the agenda this evening is a resolution to accept the audit for the 2021 school year. I just want to thank the professionals at Ms. Savaccia for working with us, as well as central office staff and the business office staff. One member of the business office here this evening. Thank you, Ms. Sweeney, as well as the rest of the staff in the business office. The auditor, Ms. Wallop from Ms. Savaccia, met with the Finance and Facilities Committee earlier this evening. They may touch on it during the committee reports. Again, thank you to everybody involved for another successful audit. There's also two projects that are on the agenda this evening. First project is an exterior glazing project. This is done at Betsy Ross, George Washington, and Ramapo Ridge. It's touching some areas at all three schools. It's going to remove some single pane glass systems that are still in place at those schools, replace some double hung windows that are no longer operating efficiently, and replace some exterior panels that are deteriorating. One addition as well is in the George Washington courtyard. Right now there's one entryway into that courtyard. This will, on the other side of the courtyard, create a second entryway in there. We'll have two means of egress and entrance into the courtyard. Also for the work that's being done in George Washington and Betsy Ross, this will be a nice lead-in in preparation for some HVAC replacements that we're looking to do the following summer. The other item that's on the agenda that I'd like to highlight is the computers. I know this has been on the agenda once before, but the vendor who was awarded the project informed us of an error with the bid. Thankfully, the second bidder is still able to acquire the product that we need within our deadlines and will be awarded the bid this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bleeker. Dr. Fair, did you have you had a continuation, yes, of your report?
Did.
Okay.
As I shared earlier, we have 3 retirement announcements on this evening's board agenda. But before I speak to those three staff members, I just want to highlight, and I know that this retiree from Mahwah, she doesn't necessarily like the spotlight. Her name is Maria Gramuglia. She retired 2 years ago, and you'll see under agenda item 19L, she is helping us out in being a leave replacement teacher. So they always come back. So we thank Maria, and we appreciate her in helping us remain fully staffed for this school year. Also, you'll see at your places is our most recent draft of the kindergarten Kickstart program that is located on agenda item 19X. And on our last agenda, we listed our summer school programs for 2022, inclusive of those programs that we created last year. Our administrative team felt that we really needed something in addition for our incoming kindergartners. So we're excited to announce that we will be offering this program for those students this summer. This program will be 1 week in length, and we're scheduled to have that occur in August. Our teachers will utilize fun and engaging activities to help students acquire the skills necessary for learning in the classroom. And activities will range from morning circle and routines, playground time, arts and crafts, to read alouds and shared playtime, to get students acclimated to a school building in Mahwah, and to get them excited about what kindergarten will be. And lastly, we have 3 retirements. So the first is for Lori Edwards. She is the reading specialist at Lenape Meadows School. Ms. Edwards is a valued staff member at Lenape Meadows School. During her almost 20-year tenure at Lenape Meadows, she helped support and positively influence many of our students' lives, especially as it relates to our reading instruction as a reading specialist. She considers many of her Lenape Meadows colleagues as lifelong friends that she will remain in contact with far after her career comes to a conclusion in Mahwah. We wish Ms. Edwards nothing but the best in her retirement. Our second retirement is Mrs. Barb Delantash. She has dedicated 25 years of service to art education here in Mahwah. She's worked in several buildings, and she currently teaches at George Washington School and Betsy Ross School. Every day, Mrs. Delantash has approached her work and classes with a heart full of gratitude. And that is not an exaggeration. If you know Barb Delantash, she is kind, and she loves her students. She loves sharing her passion for art with often equally as passionate students. Her calm energy, caring soul, and artistic energy will be missed in the Mahwah schools, but her impact will last through the student creations that adorn our halls. Barb exhibits a kindness with which we will always remember her, and in a recent conversation with Barb, She spoke so fondly about the district and her experience in working with students of all grade levels that she highlighted some key memories from her work here in district. We appreciate all that she has done. And our last piece is Mercedes Blanco. So Senora Blanco has been a dedicated educator for the past 31 years, and prior to coming to Mahwah, she has worked in Jersey City for 10 years, and during her 21 years serving the Mahwah Township Public Schools, she has been a team leader, a beloved teacher of Spanish, teacher of ESL, and even in recent years, financial literacy. Senora Blanco's thoughtful care and compassion for her students is second to none. She has been a dedicated advocate for her students' academic, social, emotional, and cultural development while simultaneously teaching them honesty, integrity, and responsibility at every opportunity. Even just as noteworthy, and as I highlighted earlier in my presentation connected to community connections, over the past several years, Mercedes has taught the adult ESL class on Tuesday evenings in order to help the parents and relatives of her ELL students to become more familiar and fluent with Spanish, as well as the ins and outs of American society. Senora Blanco is a highly respected colleague by all of Bramble Ridge Middle School, and she will be severely missed. She's looking forward to retirement, to rest, relax, to have fun and laughter, and she has 4 beautiful grandchildren that she's looking forward to spending more time with. And while she will be greatly missed, the faculty, staff, and administration of Bramble Ridge wish her all the best in her much-deserved retirement. I had the opportunity to sit down with Mercedes, and as she was, actually we Zoomed, and we spoke for a good 30 minutes about what her experience has been like here, and she's been through a lot of changes. And she's excited that she's leaving on a high, and she really appreciates where we are as a district. And she didn't know I was writing down some of her words, but she had shared, quote, "I feel like I'm leaving my second home, like I'm leaving a piece of my heart in Mahwah." And she's right. So we'll miss Mercedes, we'll miss all 3 retirees, and we wish them the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fair. All right, my report. I do have a few things. First off, I just want to thank everyone for their good wishes and support. I've gotten emails and text messages, etc., about my position as president. So I just wanted to publicly say thank you. And I just wanted people to know and clarify that because of my professional obligations and what I do in my professional life, I'm a bit of an anomaly in that I do not have any social media. So I'm not on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, sorry. And so sometimes people might assume I see things or receive things through social media. I don't. So if you ever need to reach me as board president, please do so through my board email. I do have board members send me things periodically, but I myself do not have a social media presence. I just wanted to clarify that. I also wanted to, well, in honor of January 2022 being Board Member Recognition Month, I wanted to thank my fellow trustees for their, getting back with their interest, volunteering to serve on committees, and offering to chair them as well. So I look forward to a great and productive year this year with all of you. I also wanted to highlight a recent article. New Jersey became the 2nd state in the country to require Asian American and Pacific Islander history to be included in the school curriculum. Legislation was signed by Governor Murphy. It ensures that AAPI contributions, history, and heritage are included in New Jersey K-12 standards for learning in the social studies curriculum. We're the 2nd state after Illinois to actually pass this legislation. As a fellow Asian American, I was born in India. I'm very proud of this legislation in the state of New Jersey for setting a trend and being at the forefront of this. Unfortunately, Mr. Pascal left, but I wanted to give a shout out to Mahwah High School because Mahwah High School was recognized with the College Board AP Computer Science Female Diversity Award. Now, this recognizes schools that are closing the gender gap and expanding young women's access to computer science coursework in AP Computer Science Principles and AP Computer Science A. Specifically, College Board is honoring schools that have either reached 50% or higher female examinee representation in one of or both of these courses, or whose percentage of the female examinees met or exceeded that of the school's female population. So there's a total of about 1,000 schools in the country, Mahwah High School now being one of them. And there's only about 20 high schools in New Jersey. And Dr. Bavino and I looked at the list, and really, I think there's very, very few in Bergen County. So we are a select group. So congratulations to Mr. Pascal, to the entire computer science staffing, and to our department that is doing such a tremendous job. As my daughter and her friends would say, let's go women in STEM. All right. And lastly, another highlight, Mary Beth Rosen, who's our teacher at Mahwah High School, was nominated for the Monmouth University William Roberts Outstanding Teacher Award. This award was instituted to recognize outstanding secondary teachers who served as mentors and contributed to the education of current Monmouth University students. So each year, Monmouth University seniors are invited to nominate one of their secondary school teachers. So she was nominated by a former student at Mahwah High School, who's in the class of 2022 at Monmouth University, Shane Singoli. So congratulations to Ms. Rosen, and keep up the great work. And it's wonderful to see that our teachers are being recognized and our curriculum is being recognized in these great ways. So, thank you. That's my report. Board committee reports. Mr. Kazmarski.
I will jump in for Mr. Gallo, as he is absent, but prior to the meeting, the Finance and Facilities Committee, as Mr. Bleeker explained, met with our auditor, Nizavatia. It was a very thorough report and audit, but I definitely want to point out that not only are we on firm financial footing, there were no recommendations whatsoever through the audit, which is a testament to Mr. Bleeker and his team's professionalism, the policies and procedures they put in place to safeguard just about anything you could see from a financial standpoint. We always say that our job is to ensure the district is well run. When you see no recommendations on an audit report, and trust me, they look for everything. But to see none means that, especially from a financial standpoint, this district is incredibly well run. So I just want to congratulate Mr. Bleeker on that. I know, and his team. I know there's a lot of work that goes into it. There's a lot of back and forth and a lot of documents, but it's very impressive to see. That's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Kazmarski, and thank you, Mr. Bleeker. Job well done. Mr. Denise, policies?
Yeah, policy has one policy and regulation on tonight's agenda for a first reading. It's policy and regulation 2417, student intervention and referral services. Is a coordinated system for planning and delivering intervention and referral services designed to assist students who are experiencing learning behavior or health difficulties. The policy and regulation were revised to include language incorporating a multi-tiered system of supports to identify and address students' educational needs.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Copeland, let's go down the line.
Okay, my first community corner for the calendar year. I'll go through these quick. January 17th was Martin Luther King Jr. Day, as we all know. I didn't realize this, but this is the only federal holiday designated as a national day of service to encourage all Americans to volunteer to improve their communities. Just wanted to thank all of those that step up and volunteer to make Mahwah better, and for those that haven't, please do. There are a ton of opportunities to get involved in. Not only will you be doing something positive for our community, but you actually may enjoy it. So please step up and find an opportunity. January 13th was Korean American Day, which commemorates the arrival of the first Korean immigrants to the United States in 1903. The day also honors the Korean Americans' immense contributions to every aspect of society. On Monday, January 31st, the town will be hosting a virtual town hall meeting regarding the town's water supply. You can find info on the town's Facebook page and their website. In a partnership with the MMA, I just got this email today, our next Parent Academy will be on February 15th at 7 p.m. for a screening of the documentary Like, Understanding and Creating Balance in Social Media. It's a free event, but you need to register, so please check out their website for more information. Just a real quick winter sport update. I thought this was a good time to kind of go through some of the accomplishments. Our girls basketball team will begin the Bergen Invitational Tourney this weekend as the #1 seed in Region B, so good luck to all the girls. Our boys basketball team is absolutely killing it with a 13-3 record and are the 2 seed in the Patriot Division of the Big North Conference. The boys and girls bowling teams had very good showings in the county tournaments. Our boys and girls swims teams are having wonderful seasons. Congratulations to our wrestling team and Ryan Kosdra. He was named North Jersey Wrestler of the Week last week and is having an outstanding season. If you have been following our indoor track team, which kind of sounds weird, but find the high school's Twitter feed. Mr. Pascal and the team there is putting a lot of indoor track info up there. They've been bringing home a ton of medals, and it's really impressive to see that all grades are contributing, freshmen all the way through seniors. This isn't a winter sports update, but congratulations to Izzy Gomez on earning regional top 20 honors for girls soccer. And my last sports update is, this is a big one actually. On January 14th, our ice hockey team upset #2 seed, Bergen Catholic, beating them 2-1. I found this in, I don't know, one of the articles that was written about it. To put the magnitude of the win in perspective, we had never beaten a team ranked in the top 5 in New Jersey. Congrats to Coach Siegel and the entire team. That was a really big win. Last but not least, our next meeting is after Valentine's Day, so I want to wish everyone a very happy Valentine's Day. And this is your official reminder that you only have 19 days to figure out what you're doing for that day. So, thank you.
Thank you, I've already made up my dinner reservation. Thank you, Mr. Kaufman. All right, any other committee reports? Comes back to me. So, Instruction and Curriculum and Special Education Committee. Quick, I will be quick. We had our meeting, this is our January monthly meeting. #1, you'll notice in new business under U is our 3-year ESL plan. The other thing that we had a presentation on by Natasha Carrera was there's a nonprofit organization called Loci Rose. They are visiting our schools with the goal of educating students of the connection between people, animals, and the environment. This is, of course, an exciting grant funded by our Mahwah Schools Foundation, so thank you very much to them for K-3 students. It's a 3-part strategy she described. There's a pre-activity, so there's something, no animals get dropped off. But there's an activity that they do the week before. Then there's an in-class experience with live animals. And then they have a post-activity, a take-home extension. And there's a letter that is sent home explaining the unit to the parents. They have like 12 ambassador animals that they choose from and they bring. Some, I think there's snakes, there's reptiles, all exciting stuff. But they started with the 2nd grade students across the 3 elementaries, but all K through 3rd grade students will experience this program. And it's really exciting, and the kids absolutely love it. So thank you to Loci Rose, and thank you again to the Mahwah Schools Foundation. The PD update, professional development, I think very exciting, happening on Friday, choice-based offerings, and we were just given an update about it. That's very exciting. Thunderbird partnership update was that Dr. Fair and Dr. Bavina were meeting with some CEOs in our community. Very exciting. So if you're a CEO or running your organization and you would love to have Mahwah High School students come, or any K through 12 students, please reach out to Dr. Fair and Dr. Bavino. Yes, and Parent Academy, thank you, Brett, you already mentioned. So, that is it. Anybody else? Mr. Copeland,
I had a non-committee
do
comment.
you have, should we move to board member remarks?
I didn't know if that's where you were going or
I was
what you were
going, so-
So let me, I'm not gonna jump.
There we go,
I'm
board
just
member
going
remarks, Mr. Copeland.
I have a board member remark.
Way to jump the gun.
Yeah, right, well, it's a rookie, so I figured I'm trying to.
Did he call me a rookie?
You did.
Yeah.
Wow. Alright, alright.
We
I thought it
we
was
talk
your
about the
fault.
Thunderbird partnership program a lot, and it's been mentioned a lot. And a couple weeks ago, I had the honor of presenting to 4 different marketing and advertising classes at the high school. It was strictly came from the Thunderbird partnership program. I submitted my name, and Mrs. Ferguson reached out to me in December, and we were coordinating throughout the month of December, and it finally came to fruition a couple weeks ago in January. And I just want to publicly thank Mrs. Ferguson, Mrs. Torino for being so welcoming and so easy to work with. As someone who does not present that often and has never presented in front of a class of high school kids, it was a little daunting for me. I don't know how you did it for so many years. And it was just a really, really wonderful experience. And I want to encourage everyone on the board to put your name on that in that program, please. It was wonderful to get in there, to see what we do in the high school, specifically in the high school, on a daily basis. It was just a really great day. And when I got home that night, my daughter turned to me and said, "Hey, you weren't boring." So I take that as a win. That was a big win.
That is
And,
high compliment.
and I only counted about 2 or 3 kids that were falling asleep. So it was a good day. So again, thank you to the 2 teachers, and I encourage everyone here, also anyone who's listening or anyone out here who hasn't put their name on the list, please do. It really is a great experience. So thank you.
Wow, Mr. Copeland, thank you very much. That's
killed it.
Wait, to get not boring from your, that's killing it. That's truly,
That is the standard.
that is the standard. Yeah, did you get your coffee mug?
I did. I actually got 2.
Okay, I just wanted to make
I
sure
owe
like
you
the
one.
cycle came,
Yes, I owe you one. It came home about a week later.
Okay.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting?
you know?
Isn't that interesting?
Awesome job on the thank yous to this administrative staff. All right, any other board member remarks? Mr. De Silva.
Real quick, just want to congratulate Dr. and Mrs. Park. For those who don't know, Mrs. Park gave birth to a baby boy earlier this week. So welcome, baby Park.
Excellent. I also actually wanted to just congratulate our retirees. I actually know that Ms. Delantash and Ms. Blanco, my children, had both of them. When I mentioned to my daughter that, my daughter's coming up today, about Ms. Delantash, she actually said that the best compliment, I think, she said she felt that she actually could do art, and she's really not a very good artist. And she said Mrs. Delantash made her feel that she could be an artist, even though she struggled a little bit. So truly a testament to not just those with a passion in art, but all students who may have just been introduced to art in that way. So anyway, thank you to all our retirees for your service. All right, do we move to old business? Mr. Bleeker, the minutes. We need a motion. All right, I'm going to Mr. Kopp. Second by Mr. Kazmarski. All right, and a roll call.
Okay, roll call on the minutes. Mr. Copeland,
Yes.
Ms. Davenero,
Yes.
Mr. De Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Denise,
Yes.
Mr. Gallo. Absent, sorry. Mr. Kazmarski,
Yes.
Dr. Park,
Yes.
Ms. Saccone,
Yes.
and Dr. Morphy.
Yes. All right, we move to new business. We have A through, I think I marked it, FF. Do I have a motion to take new business A through FF? Mr. De Silva, second by Mr. Denise. Any comments, questions? Okay, Mr. Bleeker.
Mr. Copeland,
Yes on all, but I'm abstaining on 18M, Regulation 7510.
thank you. Ms. Davenero,
Yes to all, also abstaining on 18N, Regulation 7510.
Thank you. Mr. De Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Denise,
Yes.
Mr. Kaczmarski,
Yes.
Dr. Park,
Yes.
Ms. Zacone,
Yes.
and Dr. Morphy.
Yes. All right, let's take our new business. I think we're again A through FF. Can I get a motion? Mr. Copland, second by Ms. Zacone. All right.
Mr. Copland,
Yes, and thank you to all the school volunteers.
Ms. Devanero,
Yes.
Mr. De Silva,
Yes, and congratulations to our retirees, and I hope they have a long, healthy, and productive retirement.
thank you. Mr. Denise,
Yes.
Mr. Kaczmarski,
Yes.
Dr. Park,
Yes.
Ms. Zacone,
Yes.
and Dr. Morphy.
Yes. Now we move to public questions or comment. Public participation at board meetings is in accordance with bylaw 0167. At this time, members of the public may ask questions or make a comment on educational issues or school matters of community interest. As a matter of fairness, you are asked to limit your questions to no more than one and your remarks to no longer than 3 minutes. If you are here representing a group, please identify yourself, the group, and your position in the group. If you are here as an individual, please give us your name and address. This section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes.
Hi, thank you. Couldn't get up here fast enough, it's late. No.
Thank you for waiting and sitting
No,
through.
no. Julie Conti.
Oh, hold on. Whoops. I need a motion to open the meeting to the public. Mr. Kaczmarski, rookie moves, and second by Mr. DeSilva, right, Mr.
I
Cobb?
didn't say it that time.
My
Thank you.
name is Julie Conti, 88 Island Road. I've taught in Mahwah for over 23 years, lived in Mahwah over 46 years. My children are going through my daughter's a senior, so she's been through the district. My son has graduated from the district. So clearly, I love where I am. I want to be here, and I think Mahwah's the greatest place, and I have a lot vested in Mahwah. So with that being said, I'm sure we're all aware, on February 9th, the governor's mandate, or whatever it is called, about the masks in schools is slated to hopefully end. And with that being said, I'm hoping, because I see in the classrooms, which unfortunately, no, you don't have that opportunity to be in the classroom with these very special gifts that I am allowed to be in front of and teaching. And I do see the negative effects that a mask can have on those that do not enjoy wearing it and don't want to be wearing it. So I'm asking, and I'm very hopeful, that this district will consider, if this does not continue past February 9th, that you do make masks optional for those people that are not comfortable with it and has a negative effect. So that being said, thank you, and I am hopeful. I know you always do the right thing by the children. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Conti. Mr. Coop, I feel like you're bringing props.
It's show and tell time.
It's show and tell, okay. Thank you, Mr. Feason.
Good evening. Good to see everybody. John Feason, 20 Falcon Court, Mahwah, New Jersey. Home of the brave. Sometimes you have to be brave in this town. The last time I attended this meeting, I asked the board if the board had developed a position on the new ordinance that is being considered by the Township Council, which permits the retail sale of cannabis products in our town. Tonight, I want to ask the Board of Education a similar but different question. The question is, does the board have a position on the location of the retail store? I ask this because the store will be within eyesight of the schools on Ridge Road. The cannabis store and the schools will be in the same neighborhood. This is a map of Mahwah, our town. And this black dot represents the northern part of the school district and the cannabis store. And when I did this, I said, what's wrong with this picture? Because the cannabis store is right on top of the property that the Board of Education controls. We have the rest of the whole town here, and yet everything is right here. And I think it clouds.
Maybe you could turn the, so the audience at home could hear.
Wait,
They can't hear.
Oh, okay.
He needs to go in front of the mic. so
Oh, wait,
can
they
hear
have to
him.
go back to the microphone. We have to give you a microphone.
So, I mean, does this look right when you have the dot of the store right on top of the property of the school board? When everything else is different? Wouldn't the optimal be one here and one there? So, I think it's a mistake to locate this cannabis store so close to the school district and the church and the daycare center and the ball field and Commodore Perry Park. I think this location for the store casts a dark shadow on the schools. When new people come to Mahwah and they see the new store, they go over the overpass and there's the schools right there. What would you do? Thank you. I strongly suggest that the board make a statement to the town council that the proposed location is too close to our educational buildings and that another location be identified. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Mr. Gates.
Hi, good evening. Danielle Ryan. One question, going back to the nurses, but it's just a question. Is the contact tracing, now that the state can't do it on their own, is the contact tracing within the school required by the state to do?
Yes.
With that, maybe just something I'm thinking of as an opportunity to recoup some of that cost from the state. I know in what I used to do, if there was a state of emergency, which we're currently under, police, we did have to fill out our forms, and then we would submit them to FEMA, who would reimburse the departments because we were in a state of emergency. Perhaps Mahwah, and any school district for that matter, needing this extra money to help the nursing situation, maybe we could be the first ones to do it, put in that money, put in those timesheets to the state requesting reimbursement because we're in that state of emergency. Moving on from there.
Yeah, we can consider that.
And then also, just a comment about the masks. I don't have a child in the school system. I opted not to send him for this year, but I was helping a friend who went to go pick up a student after school. And when they came to the car, my son said, you know, how was school today? And the kid, after ripping off his soaking wet mask, said, terrible. And I actually wrote it in my phone. I pulled over and texted myself because I couldn't believe what he was saying, like such a small child. He said it was terrible because of this stupid mask. I can't even breathe. So I said, it's after school, you're outside, why are you still wearing that mask? It's freezing cold, it was this month, it's freezing cold, the mask's wet, you're breathing that in, like I've been here 2 hours, my lips are so chapped from just wearing this thing. And he said, I don't know, I have to. And I was just curious, maybe we could reach out to the schools at least at dismissal time when the kids are just out there breathing in this like cold, damp mask. They're outside, social distancing at that point, even if it can't be 6 feet apart, at least you're outside. There's not going to be 15 minutes of that where they would be documented as like a close contact because kids are coming and going. And they're young, maybe they don't realize they're outside, they can take it down. You know, they're just following the rules that they follow during the day. But being that they are outside, perhaps we could encourage them or at least let them know if you'd like to take it down, you know, you can. And that's it. Same, Julie. Yeah, Julie. As she said, the negative effects of the mask in the classroom, if we finally get rid of this order, hopefully we can at least make it optional so people can make their own decisions for the kids that are struggling with this, for the young children that are trying to learn how to read. learning, speaking just in general, like reading, writing. There are studies saying that this is impacting them big time. So that's all I can say.
Thank you, Ms. Ryan.
Lou Theodoro, sorry about coming up earlier. First of all, thank you for being open after the school, the break. A lot of districts, including my son's high school, chose to close for a week. That was very, very disappointing. It's a testament to all of you that the district stayed open, stayed functional. And you talked earlier about social emotional learning. It starts with them being in school. That has got to be paramount, and there's so much data on that now. I'm glad that you value that and stayed open. On the masks, as has been brought up previously, Governor Murphy's order will expire relatively soon, and it's unlikely to come up again, at least we hope. And I urge you to consider making masks optional. A number of districts in New Jersey have already, and boards have already stated that it's their intention that once the executive order is over, that they will go optional for kids. Masks are very difficult, at least for my daughter and for her friends. It makes learning very difficult. The masks that are used, the number of kids, by far the majority of kids use the cloth masks have been shown not to be effective at all. One esteemed epidemiologist called it a facial decoration. As an alternative, N95 masks were recommended. N95 masks are not FDA approved for children's use. They should never be used by a child. There are surgical masks, paper masks, they're very difficult to wear, and you will find that then, as they said before, Wisconsin said, the kids are constantly fidgeting with them, and touching the mask basically inoculates the mask, thereby making it useless. So in reality, masking of children, especially young children, is not helpful. It's not really stopping community transmission. There's tons of data on that now. Most of the rest of the world is not masking young children. And most of the country, there's only 6 states in the United States now that currently have mask mandates at the state level. So I plead with you when that comes up. It's not that, those who want to wear the mask obviously can, but to make it optional. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Figueroa. Thank you. Okay, can I get a motion to close the meeting to the public? Mr. Kaczmarski, second by Mr. Copeland. And a motion to recess to executive session, Mr. Kaczmarski and Mr. Denise. There will be no business that we will come back for, so we will adjourn directly from executive session. Thank you all.
Thank you. Mr. Bonilla, you may end the transmission of